It's just amazing.
It's amazing. And they bring it up because in this AA match from Osage, Iowa, which has been a famous wrestling town for decades, here is Doug Schwab. Now, you've heard of a few Schwabs before come out of that school. Mike and Mark.
Well, in fact, Doug was warming up with the family sweats worn by Mike and Mark when they won state championships.
And they're here tonight to see him wrestle.
I was just laughing. I hope he washed them.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Corey Stanley of Wilton is his opponent, and Wilton is in the hunt for the title, and Wilton has Stanley, an undefeated wrestler. Neither one of these young men has lost this year, so the winner is the state champion. The loser will have his first loss of the year. The official is Jim Christensen of Greenfield.
You mentioned team race. This is a big match for Wilton. They're still in the hunt. All they have to do is win 2 more than the team that's winning right now, the Davenport Assumption. They both have 3 in the finals, so it's a big match.
1A is Jimmy Rodgers of Oakland Riverside against Tim Baker of Clarksville. And at the 3A, we have Eric Juergens of Maquoketa going for his 3rd title. He's never been beaten in high school against Mark Ryle of Fort Dodge, who has lost once. And that's a big one, too. We'll keep very close tabs on those matches. No score here at the 2A 119 between Schwab in the green and Stanley of Wilton in the blue on your right.
Center, gentlemen, center.
We have a microphone on each of the referees in our TV matches so you can hear him talk to the wrestlers. It's been something we've done for years. And it makes a lot of difference when you can hear what they have to say.
Doug Schwab is trying to win the family's 6th state championship. Mark won 4, of course, and Mike won 1. And this will be the 8th time a Schwab boy has been in the Class 2A finals. So Mike was in the finals 2 times. And, of course, Doug was a runner-up 2 years ago at a 103. He was knocked out of the tournament competition last year at the sectionals because of a shoulder injury. And between Schwab and Stanley, like you pointed out, their combined record is 70-0.
70 and zip this year. How is the shoulder of Schwab this year? There's the shot taken by Stanley. It's from a long ways out, and Schwab is across the back in defense. Doesn't look like any points are going to come out of this one.
You know, I don't know the answer to that question about his shoulder. I've heard it's hurt and everything, but, you know, he's got a lot of guts, and it's not going to have any effect on him tonight because it's just a matter of one more match, and he knows what he wants and going after it, you know. And I'm sure the Wilton young man right here, Stanley, knows exactly what he needs to do out here for his team.
Well, he's working for his team as well as for himself. And Corey Stanley, coached by Steve Shirk, Doug Schwab by Bruce Gast. Oh, look at a beautiful move that comes out in favor of Schwab. It could have gone either way.
Big move right there.
It's a 2-point takedown.
We could have an exciting one right here. Only a junior, both of these.
Let's take a look at that.
We got 15, gentlemen. We got 15 seconds. First period.
Now, actually, what happened was Schwab initiated, and Stanley reacted real nicely, and then Schwab rolled through. So it was great action, reaction, action.
Just keep going. That's what you have to do, Schwab. On the edge.
Nice whizzer for an escape.
And it's got
only
Stanley
2
up.
seconds left.
Stanley made a point right at the end of the first period, as Tim said. Boy, that is so important to get those points on the edge of the mat and at the end of a period.
There's Bruce Gast, Osage coach, and really has had done a great job at Osage, both as assistant head coach for several years.
Stanley couldn't quite reach Schwab with a single leg, so Schwab is working hard with the front headlock in the counter. That's what happens, you know, these days when you go under wrestlers. It's one of the moves that the front headlock has become such an important weapon in wrestling. You know, the things go in trends as the years go by. Now, if you go underneath and you don't quite make it, that front headlock can wipe you out.
Look up here. Look at me. Look at me.
Both
Over here.
These young wrestlers like to be on their feet, and Corey Stanley, he got his 100th win already in his career as only a junior, so he's really doing some great things for Wilton. We talked about Bruce Gast a little bit in the Osage tradition. They won their 17th consecutive North Iowa Conference title this year. Bruce himself. There's Steve Shirk.
Somebody has been cut a little bit, and they couldn't figure out which one it was for a second. Now, I believe it's Stanley, so he's gone over to be cleaned up. They have to stop to cover that.
There's Steve Shirk. He's 21 years as a head coach, 16 at Wilton, and he's really got a team vying for their first state title here tonight.
Got it? He's got it on the side of...
Schwab and
They gotta
Stanley
pass up
going
again.
for the
Got it
119-pound
here.
championship
Thank you.
at
Ready,
2A
ladies and
class
gentlemen?
in the 1995 High School Wrestling Championships, live from Veterans Auditorium in Des Moines on Iowa Public Television.
You gotta have offense,
The
fellas. You gotta have
24th year
offense
of
here.
coverage. Another try by Stanley from outside, and Schwab counters it. Not enough, though. He was not able to score with it. He still has the top position there in that situation.
Well, like you said right here, Schwab is controlling the head right here in the elbow, just trying to find a way that he can stuff the head, get around. Stanley wasting a lot of energy underneath.
Oh, he
there.
changed his mind and went into...
Whoa, was that close?
that was close because Stanley would have been in trouble there.
Big time trouble. There's
15.
Mike. There's Mike Schwab right there, older brother of Doug. I know sitting right beside him, close to him, is Mark Schwab. The brothers are back to watch their young brother try to win his first state title. Second time in the finals for Doug Schwab.
Well, Mark, you're talking about face down an injury. Mark, of course, had to work against one of the worst injuries you've ever seen for an actual working wrestler. When he had a knee that had damaged so badly he couldn't even bend it.
Had several operations and still was an All-American
Come on, fellas, let's get
for
some
Northern Iowa
offense. Let's go.
in NCAA's twice.
Doug Schwab in the green of Osage. Stanley again took a shot from outside, and it was countered by Schwab across the back. Schwab leads 2-1 with 15 seconds to go in the second period. And can Stanley make something out of this?
He's trying to come around, and if he can hook the leg, he's
He
getting
did.
it. He does.
And he takes the lead over Schwab of Osage, 3-2. We have
This is important
3
right here.
seconds.
He needs to hang on. He does hang on. Oh, Schwab gets away for one.
He did count it. He
Big
did it
1
before
point.
the time
There's
ran
Mark
out.
Schwab, 4-time state champion from Osage.
3-3 now.
Here's the scoring for Stanley, and he comes around real nicely, breaks the arm there of Schwab, gets the 2, and there's only about 7 seconds left, but watch Schwab come up, hits underneath him, gets away for 1. Big point because it's 3-3 now.
Now it's 3-3. The choice goes to Stanley, and he will start underneath. So Schwab...
And on 1A, it's all tied up with a little more than a minute left. 4-4, all tied up at 1A. Jimmy Rodgers from Oakland versus Tim Baker from Clarksville, all tied up 4-4 with a minute left. And on 3A, it's 14-3 in favor of E.Juergens over Mark Rial with only 25 seconds left.
Juergens going for his 3rd title. He's never lost in high school. If he wins this year, he could become next year a 4-time champion. Looks like he's on his way here unless something happens in the last few seconds. Now this one is now 4-3 because Stanley escaped. Starting the second and third period, we have 1 minute and 30 to go. And Schwab of Osage in the green, and Stanley of Wilton
There you go.
in the blue.
Let's go here.
Both undefeated, are trying to settle the state championship at 119 pounds, 2A class.
We got to keep it in the middle, guys. We got to keep it in the middle.
Stanley started a little slowly, you might say. But now, if anybody's been controlling it in the last few seconds, it's been Stanley.
And a nice shot by Schwab right there, but Stanley puts a lot of pressure on. He's got long arms right there, and his arms is really putting the pressure. But Schwab did a nice job of getting to
Trying
his
to
feet.
keep him in now to get the takedown. It's very important for Schwab. If he gets a takedown, he'll take the lead. But he doesn't have it yet. We have 1 minute to go.
What Stanley's going to try to do is keep the pressure on Schwab's shoulders, stuff the head, and keep it for a stalemate. Schwab has a chance if he can pull it up. Stalemate.
Stalemate. Jim Christensen says it's not going to improve.
There's the brothers. Mike on the left, Mark on the right. Who's more nervous, Doug or Mike and Mark?
Well, at least Doug can do something about it because he's wrestling. He can take out his tension in some way. 45 seconds to go. 4-3 in favor of Stanley in the blue. And he takes the shot, but Schwab stuffs the head. Can he score with 40 seconds to go? Looks like he can.
He does. Well, he hasn't called it. Stanley's done a nice job here of reacting to the pressure. And
Stanley did it. He never quit.
Boy, he didn't. He kept going.
And he leads 6-3. Well, the score says 6-5. And it may have been the reversal.
Work it, work it.
Oh, 6-5 in favor of Stanley with 5 seconds to go.
Well, they gave 2 takedown and 2 reversal.
Yes.
Wow, but Wilton wins it.
But Stanley wins.
Coach Steve Shirk gets his first of a couple more that he needs for Wilton. Stanley wins the championship.
Good hands. Good match, guys. Red band.
Doug Schwab comes up a runner-up for the second time in his career. Still has another year to try to get to the top.
Let's have the awards at 112 pounds in the 1A first.
Awards, Coach Terry Northcutt of Pekin-Packwood.
Sophomore Jimmy Rodgers of Oakland Riverside gave his opponent an escape in the second period for a 4-4 tie and carried that 4-4 tie well into the third period, but then got a stalling point, an escape, and a takedown, and he scored an 8-5 decision over Tim Baker. Jimmy Rodgers at 119 is the champion. Dick?
All right, Dean, with me now is a young man who just made a little bit of history, E.Juergens of Maquoketa, the state champion, who had little trouble in disposing of Mark Rial of Fort Dodge 16-4. Eric, it looked easy.
You know, he was a good kid. I mean, all the matches they've been hard, and he was just as good as the rest of them. It was a tough match.
And what do you got in mind to plan for next year to make it number 4? What are you going to do this summer?
Work extra hard, keep doing what I have been doing, you know, lifting weights and that sort of stuff, keep in shape.
Do you have your own plan tonight when you went out there in the first period?
Yeah, our plan was no matter what, either he score or me score, but get points going so the match opens up.
And there was little trouble there.
Not, yeah.
No trouble whatsoever. Okay, now let's get back to Doug.
Congratulations, 19.
Sixth place, Jeremiah Mullins, Aldo Aurelia. Fifth place, Corey Musser, Lisbon. Fourth place, Thad Anderson, Logan Magnolia. Third place, Travis Morrow, Lake City, Southern Cal. Runner-up, Tim Backer, Clarksville. And the Class 1A 119-pound champion from Oakland Riverside, Jimmy Rodgers.
Jimmy, the state champion. Can't take that away from him. He's the best in the state at his weight. That's the 1A award stand for 119 pounds. Up come the 2A, the middle-sized schools, if you will.
Presenting the Class 2A 119-pound awards, Coach Steve Shirk of Wilton. Sixth place, Brian Kirchhoff, Humboldt. Fifth place, Nick Haynes, Pella. Fourth place, Andy Thompson, Clear Lake. Third place, Gabe Kelly, Osceola Clark. Runner-up, Doug Schwab, Osage. And the 119-pound Class 2A champion from Wilton, Corey Stanley.
That was a terrific match that Corey Stanley won over Doug Schwab. One of them had to lose. The first loss for either man this year. Stanley over Schwab for the title at 119 in the 2A division. Now we're going to see the 3A winners, and to the top of the stand, a 3-time titleist with a possibility next year of becoming a 4-time champion.
Presenting the Class 3A 119-pound awards, Coach Jeff Campier of Maquoketa. Sixth place, Lonnis Jordan, Waterloo East. Fifth place, Chris Nelson, Spencer. Fourth place, Nick Mitchell, Johnston. Third place, Casey Doyle, Manchester, West Delaware. Runner-up, Mark Rial, Fort Dodge. And the 119-pound champion from Maquoketa, E.Juergens.
A 3-time champion, E.Juergens, who can go for 4. Next year, he's never lost in high school. Let's go to Dick Trotter for a floor report.